Good morning. I'm Dr. Chirag Tonse from Bangalore. Today we'll speak on primary ACL repair, the indications and the surgical technique for primary ACL repair. Now, ACL surgery, as we all know, has a lot of different opinions. It's got a lot of confronting results, and the trend in today's world is more towards anatomic procedures and more biological techniques. Let's just look into a case scenario. A patient comes to me, a 28-year-old young active male who had a low-grade twisting injury, 6 days old. He comes with pain, instability, minimal swelling of the knee joint, and with the demand of returning back to normal activities. When we examined him, he did have a grade 2 effusion. Latchman test was positive, and on MRI, what we saw was the patient had a proximal attachment tear. The rest of the ACL fibers appear to be normal, but this was a tear from the proximal attachment. Now it is very disheartening to pull down the entire fibers of the ACL and go ahead and do a primary ACL reconstruction. In these case scenarios, what are the treatment options we have? Less biologic ACL reconstruction, more biologic procedures like a primary ACL repair, ACL augmentation procedure, or else a remnant preserving ACL reconstruction technique. A primary ACL repair. Now, this has been an ongoing debate since many years. Uh, ACL repair was a procedure in trend when it started in 1985. The first ACL repair was done in 1985 by Mayo Robson. It then became a procedure of choice from the early 1930s through the 1960s. It had good short-term results, but then a lot of patients had a re-rupture. The patients had pain, stiffness, and instability. Hence, towards the 1990s, this procedure was almost abandoned with the advent of primary ACL reconstruction. The reason for the failure of these primary ACL repairs were probably large arthrotomy scars, post-operative cast immobilization, pain, and stiffness. Then a lot of authors did come up with moderate results in the midterm follow-ups, and they did say to us that the improper patient selection was the result for the failures in the past. In recent terms, a lot of authors have come up with their literature saying that they did achieve excellent midterm results. And these authors did tell us that the proper patient selection and a proper surgical technique was very important in these surgical procedures. Hence, the key for a better surgical outcome in a primary ACL repair would be a proper patient selection, adequate surgical technique, probably augment these procedures with internal brace or a graft, and a more biologic procedure like a microfracture, which would enhance the healing. Sherman did tell us in his paper that he identified 4 types of ACL tears, and type 1 tears were the ones who were most suitable for these primary ACL repairs, and excellent results were achieved in these type 1 ACL tears, and the worst outcomes were that of type 4 tears. Hence, why would I repair an ACL? Now, ACL repair would be a less invasive surgery, would avoid graft donor site morbidity. It would retain the native ACL anatomy, collagen orientation, both the bundles, especially the footprints, and probably it would mimic the normal biomechanics of ACL, probably retain the proprioception function, and hence the patient would have an early rehab and early return to sports. In case of a failure of such ACL repairs, one always has a bailout option of an ACL reconstruction. Also, pediatric patients would benefit from this procedure, since it is a fascial sparing procedure. Now, what are the indications of an ACL, primary ACL repair? Recent injury, proximal attachment tears, as I said, a type 1 or a type 2 tear, both the bundles intact, continuity of the fibers from tibia to the femur, which is intact. And extended indications would be a lambda healing of the ACL. Now, how do I repair an ACL? Patient in normal supine position under spinal anesthesia, one would go ahead, create the normal routine portals, anterolateral and anteromedial portal. One would view through the anterolateral portal and anteromedial portal as the working portal. One would identify these torn fibers. As you see here, it's a proximal attachment avulsion tear. It's a type 1 tear. one would debride the frayed fibers of the ACL using either a low profile shaver blade or a radio frequency ablator, and then inspect the remnant fibers. We see here that it's purely an avulsed ACL stump from the proximal attachment. One would then go ahead, take a radio frequency ablator, and clear out the frayed fibers and the sharpish fibers from the intercondylar notch to give us a clear picture of the lateral femoral condyle. One would go ahead and do a notchplasty if required in case we plan to augment these primary ACL repairs. I usually take a scoop and scoop out the lateral femoral condyle so that this also would enhance the biology of healing. Instead of creating a microfracture, I scoop out or scrape out the lateral femoral condyle. One would then take a suture passing device like a first pass device and lateral portal, viewing the viewing portal. One would also, if required, take a central accessory portal um, for the better control of the suture and better suture management. One would take the suture passing device, load it with a strong suture material like a fiber wire or ultra braid suture material, and then either go ahead and suture the stump using continuous sutures, cinch suturing, or else a Krakow suturing technique. One would then change the viewing portal to the anteromedial portal and then take the second bite or the second suturing through the anterolateral portal. Hence, one would have a good tissue bite through the anteromedial bundle as well as the posterolateral bundle. Here we see there is one suture which is taken through the anteromedial bundle and another suture of different color taken to the posterolateral bundle. Hence, we have a better control over both the bundles while fixation. One would then take the pilot hole of a swivel lock of 4.5 millimeters and then identify the footprint. Furthermore, make a pilot hole, load all the 4 threads into the swivel lock, and then with knee in 90 degrees of knee flexion with adequate tension, one would go ahead and fix the primary ACL fix the ACL stump with the swivel lock anchor. It's very important that at this point we maintain the tension in the ACL graft so that the on flexion and extension, the graft is not unduly tensioned. At the end of the procedure, we see that there's a continuity of the fibers of the ACL, a good stump, and the ACL fibers are continuous from the tibial footprint up to the femoral attachment. In case you are not very satisfied or not very confident of your primary ACL repair, one would always go ahead and enhance the repair or doubly secure the repair with additional augmentation. One would either use fiber tape fixation or else one would go ahead, harvest a semi-T graft and use two-stranded semi-T graft for augmentation of this procedure. As we see here, one would carefully make your tunnels through the tibia and the femur, and then using here I use a two-stranded semi-T graft to augment my primary ACL repairs. This would one, protect my graft. Second, give you a security to go ahead and start off your rehab as early as possible. It's very important that we, at this point, we do not overstuff the femoral condyle. Hence, it's important that once we have augmented the primary ACL repair, we look at the knee in full extension and see if our augmented fibers are notching in the intercondylar notch. Here it's not. The rehabilitation for these procedures could be tailored. We usually follow the make a rehabilitation program where we start the range of movement as early as the first week. We go up to 0 to 100 degrees of range of movement with quadriceps setting exercises and straight leg raising. 2 to 8 weeks would be the continuous strengthening program. The patient would resume his running in about 8 weeks time, and in 12 weeks the patient is able to resume his sport specific training physiotherapy. The key for the success of a primary ACL repair would be a proper patient selection, all arthroscopic surgical technique, appropriate suture control of the torn ACL fibers, and stable opposition of the bleeding bone surface to the native attachment site. Thank you.